And we're back. Game number 2 of our last best of 3 of the day. Could be our final game of the day if Cloud9 can repeat the success they found in game 1. Alliance, though, this time they got their hands on a couple of heroes they know a thing or two about, especially Ake's Chen. I am AC. Welcome in once again to break down the draft and lend insight and analysis throughout the whole tournament. Trouf, Dota, and yeah, man, like I was tweeting about it a little bit and talking with some folks, and it really did just feel like Alliance the entire first game. It wasn't that they were making bad plays per se. I mean, they had some pretty good decisions. They put themselves in a position to break even through the mid game, but really Cloud9 was just one step ahead. They seemed to just know where they were, both through good vision through wards and also just good instincts. And in the end, they bought enough time for Eternal Envy and Sing Sing to go nuts, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I think a big thing too is, and I mentioned this earlier, is that I think Loda needed a little bit more protection in team fights. He had an immense amount of farm throughout that entire game, and despite them pretty much being, I think, trailing in kills most of the time, his net worth was always on top for the most part until the very, very end when Sing Sing toppled over him. But in the team fights, it was pretty much just Bat went on him every single time, and then he died, and then the fight was over. And they needed, I think the only kind of protection you need is you need to go on Bat before he goes on you, because they don't have a defensive disruption or something like that. The best that they could do, as you mentioned, is EGM was really fast with the stuns right when Bat came on, but it clearly wasn't enough, because by that time Sing Sing had that MKB up and was just wrecking face into Loda. So I think they needed a faster blink, to be honest, on EGM, and I think that Admiral Bulldog maybe could have he just didn't have that great of a game, and I think he could have maybe added a little bit more space for Loda, even though he was doing quite well with the space he had. I think he could have gotten a few more kills from the Nyx Assassin.
Yeah, I agree with you. Bulldog needed more out of him. They needed more activity out of him. But again, that kind of comes back to what I was saying about Cloud9 just never really being in a bad position. You didn't see them caught out very often at all. And when they were, they would die. But then you'd have things like Envy buyback, and then they turn it around, and it costs you Envy, but he buys back.
That was huge.
Yeah, and they kill 3. I mean, it's just it was just good decision making all around. And like you said, Alliance didn't even really, I don't think they expected that any more than you did. So, but that's game 1. Let's look ahead to game 2. Invoker plus Chen up against a Lycan and a Puck. Already, we're going to see a lot of towers quivering at their foundations, and now a Dazzle to go with it. And the Dazzle pick, I really like the way teams have been using Dazzle lately. But when I see a Dazzle and a Chen together on the same side, it makes me worry a little bit, just because they're heroes who make an already strong team even stronger. They're not, those big play supports like a Rubik, who by himself can turn a fight, or even a Sand King with a big epicenter who can completely flip a fight just by getting off a good ultimate or whatever. Chen and Dazzle are going to be excellent at what they do, but I feel like a lot of this game already is going to come down to not just farm rates, obviously, you want your carries farming and your mids to win, but I think rotations and moving Ake's Chen around, that's going to be of paramount importance for Alliance to hold down this Lycan.
Yeah, and the AA was banned out actually by Cloud9 himself, so you're not going to have to worry about your heals being mitigated by an Ice Blast from AA. Right. And I wonder if we're ever going to see a Quaswex Invoker, by the way, because normally when you draft a Chen and a pushing style lineup, you want the Forged Spirits up, right. So I presume that S4 is going to go Exord, but I don't know. I'm just such a fan of the Quaswex, and I feel like we've seen Invoker so many times in the last few days, and it's never been Quaswex. But it's okay. It's if the player feels more comfortable that game for Exord, and it's the team decision to have the global presence, like you saw, for example, Empire running it with AA was so effective, and I think that's an instance where obviously Exord would be better.
Yeah, very much agree with you. Seeing the Crystal Maiden pick come out, that's interesting. I really want to see how Cloud9 decides to build out the rest of their lineup. I mean, Alliance seems fairly set. I mean, you're going to have a defensive tri lane, Loda's going to farm, Invoker will go mid, and then they'll land Bulldog one of however many, whichever of his offlane heroes he wants. They have the Prophet available if they want to go pure out-and-out push and be able to have him with the Treants. I feel like that could leave them lacking in damage a bit, though.
I think Prophet actually could be pretty good here.
Yeah.
Because when you're pushing in with Chen, sometimes the other team will get in a bind where they're like, oh, do we want to defend this yet? And a couple heroes stand around. That gives an opening for a huge Wrath of Nature from Furion, and then you can just kind of backstab with the teleport. So I think Prophet could fit it well. Also, I feel like the other offlane heroes that Admiral Bulldog's played today just have not been good for him today for whatever reason. And we obviously know that he plays a fantastic Prophet, so I think Prophet could be good. There are, of course, other options.
Druid.
But,
Druid's the obvious one. Just being able to, and that Alliance doesn't have to get real cute about it. They can just do what they've had a ton of success with, going all the way back to last year. If you could just make space and let him farm up a little bit, get him an early Midas, and then let him just rush out whatever item he chooses, be it a Radiance, be it a Maelstrom build, whatever happens to float his boat that day, and then just let him carry you. He's good enough at the hero that he can do that, especially if you have a decent core on. Yep, there's the Prophet, though, so I'm not even going to finish the thought. The Prophet makes sense, but again, I worry a lot about damage output in the early phases. We're yet to see what their true one position is going to be unless they show us something really wonky. But, with Lycan, we know how hard he hits. A well-played puck can shut a team down. Crystal Maiden, very effective in the early levels. And if they decide to build towards that, they're going to have a chance to really run over Alliance, unless Alliance, again, is really on top of their rotations. What it does give them is more rotational potential. You bring a Chin to try to gank or to try to dive now. You also have a Nature's Prophet who can be there in the blink of an eye. So I really like the dynamic of this draft. I want to see how TA, that makes sense. And this is kind of what I was talking about. There's so much more damage in the early phases of the game, even before items truly begin to develop for Cloud9, and they're going to be very, very squishy.
Yeah, it looks like this is going to be an off-lane puck then. Yeah, most likely Bone 7. He does play that more, I think, than most players. So, yeah, and then TA mid, and then this last support for Cloud9 is going to have to be one that can battle up with the Furion that's just annoying them with, treants and probably get boosted speed up first. I see a lot of Furions in the offlane do that in instances where they can get a little bit more greedy with their positioning and getting last hits and experience. So it's a hard decision to make as far as what support can really close the gap between Furion and kill those trees fast enough so that they can get pulls off. Because I've seen instances of Furion in the off lane just messing with Lycan because he can't really do anything to a Furion unless you catch him with a good solid stun with long duration.
Right.
So it's going to be a very important last support pick here, I think, for Cloud9.
Yeah, I agree with you. And Rubik was kind of what I was thinking too. Just being, he fits in well. The combination of Crystal Maid plus Rubik can zone a Prophet out just because you have to worry about Frostbite, Nova, and the telekinesis, so you can't just reliably go, okay. What?
Disruptor could be really good, actually.
Disruptor would make sense. The Disruptor would make a ridiculous amount of sense, actually.
Yeah, it would be really good for team fights and holding off, pushes, not to mention, wow, PA, but let's pick that for Alliance. We'll come back to that, but I think Disruptor would be amazing. It's one of the best support heroes too against. I mean, obviously you can send Furion back when he TP's in the fight. That's like problem solved. Bam, don't have to worry about a Furion for 10 seconds. I think is the cooldown on teleport. I'm not 100% sure.
Yep.
20 at level 4.
Right.
And then it's one of the best tools against off lanes because you feel like you can't ever get in range because once you run back, you just get glimpsed backwards. So I wonder if that's what they're thinking. There could be other options, but I really feel like Disruptor would be amazing here for them. And then the Phantom Assassin pickup. This is like a signature Loda style anyway.
Yeah, I love the way Loda tends to build Phantom Assassin. To be honest, it's been a while since I've casted him on a Phantom Assassin, so very possible he may have changed his pattern. But he tends to go just a very stable kind of a build, phase drums, BKB. And if he's on par with his farm, and yeah, he might throw a Midas in depending on how he feels about it. But if he's on par with his farm and his leveling, what tends to happen is he finishes his BKB just as he hits level 11 or level 12-ish, and then he takes his level 2 coup de grace, and he just becomes a beast, being able to, being so well-rounded in stats, being relatively tanky and magic immune. He's really hard to deal with it. He can blow up heroes like Crystal Maiden, like a Puck, and even like a Lycan, depending on how he wants to build. So Templar Assassin does okay against that kind of a build on a Phantom Assassin, so long as she can get the meld off first. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I definitely feel like Alliance is going to have the harder lineup to execute properly. If they do, though, and Shadow Shaman, that's I don't know why we didn't think of that either. Shadow Shaman makes so much sense. Being able to hook up with Lycan and just evaporate towers. Has 2 forms of lockdown to try and deal with an offlane hero, 2 forms of lockdown to bring to try to handle Phantom Assassin. Even after she gets her BKB, doesn't last forever. Or if he gets an early mobility item up like a Blink. Like, again, the damage until Prophet really develops out. I mean, Invoker, depending on how he builds, could be Exord as well, as you had mentioned. But in terms of just pure reliable right-click, they have very little AoE, and outside of the Invoker anyway. And if you're able to hex out the Phantom Assassin before she BKBs, she's in big, big trouble.
Yeah, the Shadow Shaman's good. Obviously, you can never complain about the wards being available in your arsenal as far as pushing and whatnot. But I actually still think that Disruptor would have been better. It's really going to come down to, okay, barring that the lanes are standard, it's going to come down to how effective can they keep this Furion off. Because I don't think that Shadow Shaman and Crystal Maiden are going to be able to close the distance if Admiral Bulldog is really on point with his movement and his tree harass onto the heroes. So I think it's going to be a little bit difficult. If, of course, barring that there are going to be standard lanes. They could do something crazy like an aggro tri-lane with Puck. I've seen it before.
Yep.
And it would perhaps work if they wanted to do that, just because they have the CM Frostbite for the Chen creeps. It is very risky, and I do think there's going to be standard lanes, though.
Still a little bit of a pause. That gives us a moment to recap. This is game 2 of our second best of 3 of the day. Could potentially be our last game of the day. We'll be back with another Alliance doubleheader tomorrow as well, so make sure you mark it on your calendar. Great to see them. I love to watch teams like this, by the way. I love to watch Dota the way I love to watch my TV series, all in one big block. I love getting a good look at a team over a short period of time because you get a kind of an insight on how they adapt and what small changes they might make to builds and to drafting habits. And yes, it's always going to be different against every team based on what they know the other team's good at and their particular play style and all that. But I feel like you can really kind of get the texture of a team so much more effectively that way than watching them play like 2 best of 3s a week spread out over 6 days. And, yep, looks like Bulldog doing his best Arteezy impression.
Yeah. Although I gotta say, I'm kind of sick of every pub game I'm in. I just hear boys every other enter press.
Yep. Give or take, and don't worry, I'm going to do this one more time. I've been messing around with the cinematic camera some. I'm going to do it one more time just because I love this PA set. Absolutely love it.
How do you do that, by the way?
You click the little, it looks like a triangle with a little person standing on top of it. It's down on the hero portrait. And apparently it's been been not the biggest hit.
Really?
Yeah, I was surprised as well, but I'm only going to do it if I do it at all at the beginning of the game. Well, what I've been doing is like when there's an absolute lull, and like, you're talking about the item build of a hero who's just static farming like Ancients or something. I'll use it in the middle of a game, and people have really not liked that. So we're not going to be doing that anymore. But anyway, try to do new things. Get flamed by Twitch chat. How it goes.
5 people in the Alliance jungle right now. They know it. Furion is pinging it out, and he sees them all with the Treant too. So yep. they suspect probably that Chen's camps were warded. Does he have sentries? They don't have sentries actually, so he's not going to have 2 camps available to him. Not the end of the world, but it is definitely pretty annoying.
Oh yeah, that's very annoying, is what that is.
Oh, they're bringing out sentries now. This is smart. Sometimes supports will hold on to their gold because if you don't want to buy sentries if they're going to be kind of a waste. So
right.
Now this is double warded though, so even if he gets one, he's not going to be able to get both of them with the same sentry. If he can even find this one.
Yep, this is going to be tough to spot. And
he won't have the vision, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think he will either. He's going to need the courier to come over and spot it for him. He could see it if he had high ground vision here, but without a tango, if he had a tango, he could eat through it. He'll get that vision ward at the very least. But yeah, this one looks like his hard camp's going to be warded for at least the beginning of the game, and he's going to have to try and make do with the medium camps. But yeah, there's actually one here as well, and still looking for it.
Oh, it's just out of range.
Yep, needs to get out of there if he wants it to spawn. And looks like, yep, we're good to go. Nope, nothing. Oh, it did spawn. Huh. All right, then. Never mind. Moving on. Let's take a look at the lanes and see how they're shaping up. We're actually going to see the tri-lane we expected. AUI doing his thing in the jungle and the Crystal Maiden while we've got Pylai down the Shadow Shaman and Eternal Envy farming up the Lycan. Here in mid, it'll be a battle of Sing Sing versus S4. It'll be Invoker versus TA. And the off-lane Puck, played by Bone7 as anticipated, going to be doing what he can. Now, Puck does have a fair amount of damage to start with, so he's going to be able to harass, and he's going to be able to probably get some OKCS if he's right on top of his game.
Yeah, especially with the Howl coming out level 1 from Eternal Envy. Bulldog's getting kind of pushed around a little bit by Pylai Die plus the Wolves. Envy has a quick level 2, and he's using those Wolves strictly to help zone out Admiral Bulldog. And look at that damage. That Aether's Chalk is... That's got to be one of the highest nukes of level 1 ever.
Oh, yeah. It scales ridiculously well, man.
Yeah, it does.
At level 2, you're talking 200 damage against a 500, maybe if you're lucky, 600 health hero in most cases. Like, that's a third of your health gone at least. just because Shadow Shaman hits level 3. And it hits in an AoE if you decide to group up and do something about it. So, and you get a little bit of luck in terms of which unit the extra shock goes onto. But at any rate, we can see Puck's not struggling at all. Bone 7 is every bit at level 3 already. And, hell, he's ahead of Loda. So he's sitting in good shape. Hell, he's got more CS than Loda. So
he does.
So he's in great shape.
He's denying right now, right in front of his face. Yeah, this is not good for the safe lane of Alliance.
No, they're going to need to get Ake out here. He has rotated over.
The problem is they have absolutely no kill potential onto a Puck with these heroes. None whatsoever. Not even with the Chen.
Yep.
Unless Bone 7 really missteps. They can try to zone him out with just a little bit with auto attack and stuff, but they will never kill him.
Yep.
And if EGM's not... Oh, the orb kind of missed right there.
He might have gotten a kill there. Oh, he may end up dead because of it. Now they're going to come out on him. The net's going to grab him. He's got a orb in 4 seconds. Oh, the phase shift, salving as much as he can. They got him. Oh, the last second jaunt in the meantime. Stuff happening in mid. I don't care what it was. It wasn't nearly as cool as what we just saw Bone 7 do. The point-blank jaunt, disjointing the last auto attack. He gets away, Invoker dies on the side of Alliance, and that is as unfortunate as it gets.
So well played by Bone 7.
It was.
Absolutely. Not only living there, but that's a lot of wasted time, too.
Oh,
not to mention missed CS for Loda. Because they're trying to invest time into getting that kill, and then he missed CS as a result. Not that it is his fault, but really, really well played by Bone 7. And yeah, obviously I didn't see what happened in mid. Were there any assists? It looks like both Lycan and Howie got an assist. So I wonder if the Wolves came all the way mid.
Must have been. Up at top, Bone 7 continues to beast mode it. He's almost level 4 now. And this is kind of what I was talking about, what we saw right there. I mean, even at this level, until Loda really gets online and up and running, I just worry about their damage output, especially with that early first blood onto the Invoker. Now they're going to go on him again, but even so, he feels kind of tanky. We've got Pylite Eye coming over. Furion's going to come over. They're going to try to just trade towers here. Aether Shock just bursted Loda down to about half health. And they're going to get some damage done here, but they've got a glyph if they need it. And this is more wasted time. Bulldog is doing nothing but soaking experience and accomplishing nothing while Eternal Envy does what Envy loves to do, free farm.
Alliance just looks really out of sorts today.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it is. Maybe just an off day, but now they TP the Furion up there to cast level 1 Treants to do minimal damage.
Yep.
You have lots of levels now on Puck. He's almost level 5, and it's going to be much more difficult now exponentially to get that tower down because he's going to have a ton of spamming going on and being able to push back the waves. So Chen, he's also, I'm sure, probably not the highest level in the world. What's he at? 3.5. Not bad considering he did have to work with that one camp being warded, but and then obviously Sing Sing in mid. He's pretty much dominating mid, and they also got the kill onto him. Here's a backstab onto Admiral Bulldog. Oh man, he is so boned.
Couldn't even get there. I was watching mid, and that's my fault. But yeah, this is already looking very ugly. Before this tower drops, yeah, they have an efficiency lead of 2,000. 2,000 gold before a single tower's down, and we're talking 5 minutes into this game. This is bad. Oh, Vlad's up at 5 minutes already for MV2. And he gets the tower shot. And now a collapse on the S4. This is awful. Alliance has completely fallen apart, and Cloud9 is just dissecting them in front of our eyes.
Yeah, it seems like Cloud9's early game is on point every game I've seen so far. I mean, case in point, that one game against Na'Vi where they actually lost, their early game is just, they collapse on heroes, and they understand lanes and lane assignments and what works and what doesn't.
It's their movement, man. It's the way they move, not just supports, but off-lane heroes and everything. It's just impeccable.
Yeah, I agree.
Phase Boot's already up on Puck. And top tier 1 is down below half health. Bone 7's going to be there to eat even more CS and get a bit more gold. Medallion's already up on Lycan to go with his Vlads. If they get a kill or two, especially if they manage to take down this tier 1 mid, Roshan's going to drop insanely fast if they happen to get a high-value kill and just free up some space for it. Bone's going to farm right in front of the face of Loda. Loda sitting at 30 CS is in okay shape, I guess, but still has a long, long way to go. Now, Ake caught by Sing Sing, and he's dead for sure. That's another kill. Sing Sing and company are going berserk. AUI and C9 are being tracked by S4 down in their own jungle. There's a tornado onto AUI. Cold Snap's there.
Himself.
Yeah. And he does have point in the Wex. No, he doesn't have the mana for Ghost Walk. And he doesn't have Invoke. That's another death.
That was so silly. There was no way that was going to work whatsoever.
Yeah.
I think Alliance is completely tilted at this point.
I agree.
I don't think there's anything more to say about that.
And just in fairness, it's not just that Alliance is making some weird decisions. C9 is just looking sharp, is the word. Just sharp. 5-0, but I want to keep my trap shut because we saw something similar to this yesterday and didn't have the result one would expect. Nonetheless, we've got one tower down, and they lead by coming up on 6,000 gold. 4,000 experience. Loda's going to be coiled. He's dead. Should be anyway. Nope, never mind. Here comes EGM. EGM is there to help out. And nice phase shift again. Bone ducking away. And is spotted out. It's going to jaunt just back. And able to teleport away right in his face. So a little insult to injury, but at least Loda's still up and farming. So long as they've got Loda farming and so long as he doesn't die much, if at all, they're going to have a shot just because of the big play potential of a PA, but still a long way to go for them to get this turned around.
Yeah, but when you have a slow start like this and you can't get towers down early on with a Chen, already you're playing Chen against the Lycan, which is not good because Lycan obviously his nature of a hero is you want to split push and kind of dodge fights when you can. Obviously you take fights when you can too, but Chen's not very mobile at all. Those creeps are so damn slow. He can't respond to pushes like heroes like Furion can. So that's where this hero needs to be more of the impact needs to be on the early game, but he hasn't been able to do that.
Rasta's already level 6, or just about to be if he's not already. He should have just hit it. Yeah, he's about to hit it now. One creep dies, he's got it. Already a Midas up on Sing Sing as well, so his timing on his Midas is absurdly good. 1,500 gold is tucked away by Loda. We'll see what he wants to spend it on. He's got Brown Boots and a Bassi. Again, Phase Drum, BKB is what I'm accustomed to seeing. There's going to be an attempted dive. Here comes the reaction, though. And S4 misses with the tornado, misses badly at that. Sing Sing comes in, takes the tower, and scoots himself back to safety, then turns around to farm right in front of his face. That just, right now, honest to goodness, as cheesy as it is, they're playing with swagger, man. They're just they don't care. They're right in their face all the time, and every time they engage, they're coming out ahead.
Yeah, I think the tornado actually did hit Pylai Die, and I think that's what killed him. So at least he did that. But you're going to need that times 7 to bounce back into this game with the heroes that they have.
Yep. Actually,
you can maybe try to rely and bank on lucky crits from the coup de grace from Phantom Assassin, but it's not that reliable, and it's still only 250%. It's only level 1, so it's once you get items like Mech up onto their team as well, I don't know. This is just so hard to come back for Alliance.
Smoke up to top. Actually, good point about him hitting Pylai Die, by the way. I thought he shot, but I honestly couldn't have thought he was shooting that at Sing Sing.
I thought so too, yeah.
But, so, not too bad of a shot after all. S4, my bad, brother. Never doubt you again. This is bad news. Oh, they actually, Pylai, if he had kept running forward, he would have been able to hex him most likely, but instead, S4 able to reverse course very, very quickly. We can see an attempted Roshans going on.
Uh-oh.
Desperation from Alliance, and it could blow up in their face. Here comes Sing Sing and AUI, and they know it's coming. There's the Frostbite onto the creep, and AUI actually got critted by the dagger. And here comes Loda back in. Sing Sing's going to go to work. There's the ultimate coming out from Bulldog. Good coil locked a couple down, but no one's there to finish it up. And Pylai Die already dropped his wards. Alliance is going to be able to take this. So this is a nice step to get them back to where they want to be. And just a little bit of, for the first time this game, really, just a little bit, it looks like a lack of communication in terms of how they were going to split this up and how they were going to account for it if they were in the Roche pit. And Alliance is able to capitalize.
Yep. Tornado up onto EE here in mid. Cold Snap, he should be fine, though.
Yep.
But
Poison Touch, Cold Snap. Yep, still not enough. He'll be able to make it away. Alliance is grouped up, though, and looks like they're ready to push. The Prophet working on his Midas, still quite a ways away. And in the meantime, EE just farming the jungle up. He's going to be able to bounce back up to this tier 2 if he sees them commit to the tier 1. Looks like that's going to be the case. They do have a glyph, and they will spend it. And Loda's going to actually get eyes on him right off the bat. There's the immediate Stifling Dagger. TP's coming. And, oh, good Cold Snap. S4 on point with the reaction. That's a high-value kill for them. They're not going to get the tier 1, but they will be able to bring down Envy and slow things down a little bit. In the meantime, Bone has finished his Blink Dagger on the puck, so expect him to get much more aggressive.
Lions playing a lot better in the last few minutes. They got that Roche, and S4 keeping his team kind of in this with some good plays and good rotations. Now, that being said, because of that, his CS is ridiculously low at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But he realizes this is kind of desperation mode, and he needs to try to get whatever kills he can, because he knows that it's not going to be him. It's going to be the PA in the mid to late game that's going to have the big numbers come out. So they need to make space for Loda.
Coil spin just to kill Ake. And they're not going to collapse here. At least I don't think so. Loda actually throws the stifling down. Another nice phase shift from Bone. And I'll tell you what, man. Bone's puck has looked so unbelievably good all day. It's the little things. S4 is going to spot him. Throws out the tornado. Catches a couple. And the Nature's Prophet ulti's there. Loda re-engages. Gets a crit and gets a kill on the Crystal Maiden. Blink away by Bone. Pile Die kind of left in the lurch. He has a tango. There you go, buddy. Took him a minute. If he had been quicker, he might have gotten out. Instead, he's going to die. Might throw the wards. Nope, doesn't have mana now. And we'll turn around and shackle just to secure Sing Sing getting spotted anyway. As the battle rages behind them, and S4 just going to throw out a couple of auto attacks. Now we might see a reinitiation as Envy's got the end around on him. There's a big meld, and now Loda's got to be careful. He's going to pull back. Got a good blur there to buy him some time. EGM's a return kill for sure, and Loda's going to be caught by the side trap as well. Graves himself, Aegis is gone. And Loda in trouble as soon as he pops back up. Here we go. Net's there to help slow things down, but Sing Sing right on point. Blinks ahead. Good Sprout caught two. Now they're going to try to reverse it as Ake's there to help out. Sing Sing still feeling tanky. There's a frostbite, and Loda being teed off on good hand of God. Turns the fight back around as Sing Sing now has to try to get back, but here comes Bone. Bone throwing it out. Jaunting gets the silence off. Loda's down. Bulldog's down, and now Ake, the last one to be perceived. Yeah, that's
body blocking with the wolf. EE with the extra try hard plays as you always introduce him.
There you
nice
go.
Block onto Ake, and then Ake's army yet again is. Oh no, he still has one Starkful Summoner. Nope, he might actually die. But big plays.
Silence on to S4, and the wards go down. Great plays across the board. C9 takes a big win. There's going to be a coil. That caught EGM. He's hanging around the back, throws out the weave. Behind the fight, not a whole lot. Now EGM's going to be spotted. We hear a cold snap slowing things down. Another Nature's Wrath doing good damage. Here comes Bulldog. Bulldog surrounded by enemies. But AUI, brought back to earth by the Poison Touch. I think that was it, or did he get cold snapped? Yep, it's Poison Touch. But at any rate, Alliance able to keep their tower up despite the Rost awards. It's in bad shape. But it's 11-8, and Alliance just continues to keep breathing, though progress is still heavily in C9's favor. Even though they're not playing as well now as they were just minutes ago, they're still playing damn well good enough. And turning that fight around right at the top of the dire mid-steps, really just propelling them even further ahead. They're now into 5-digit territory. More than 500 gold per minute lead they've generated so far this game.
Yeah, one of the big strengths that Alliance has, because they've been a team for so long, is I watch them in these team fights, and their communication in team fights is pretty strong. And that's just what you get from working with players they're the same players for so long. If they didn't have such a bad early game, I feel like they would have been doing so well at this time because of the decisions that Admiral Bulldog's making in these team fights. He's got great sprouts and just great positioning. And same thing goes with S4 and Loda. And if they didn't have that horrible start in the beginning, things would actually be going very well for them right now. They're managing. They're definitely really far behind as it's 10K in gold. But they're still hanging on.
By a thread, as they have dropped a grand total of one tower that just fell. They took down one tier 1, and look at this. Not a single outer tier tower remains for them in any lane. And this is where starvation becomes your fear. C9 is going to be able to just set up shop in the jungle, take control of mid lane, take a good look at Roche and make sure they keep eyes on it, and just make them hungry. Pile Die on his way to a Scepter is only about 1,500 gold away, and now a little closer. He'll probably get a little farm priority down here. Bulldog farming up the enemy jungle now, and this is where you reach that stage where everyone has to stick together. And Loda actually went phase straight to Maelstrom, which I don't mind. Maelstrom's kind of become I wouldn't say a flavor of the month item, but in the latest patch, you're seeing it built exponentially more in professional matches than you did for the longest time. And for good reason. It's an excellent item. Really works well on heroes like PA. Also could work on TA, I guess. But nonetheless, he's just not very survivable, though. And they've got so many ways to account for him, and he's miles from a BKB unless he's got one sitting in the stash somewhere that I haven't seen. And Invoker actually gets a kill on Shadow Shaman at bottom. Looks like Sing Sing's right on their tail, though. Bulldog trying to force staff to safety. S4 can invoke in 1 second. Will be able to ghost walk if he wants to. And doesn't look like he feels the need, so he'll just fall back. Now we're having an engagement onto Eternal Envy. They're going to turn it around off of that Nova. This is what I was talking about. Loda, not the tankiest. Looked like he wanted to re-engage. A lot of back and forth in this top lane, but instead of seeing another kill, everyone just decides to kind of leave.
Yeah. Yeah, that was unfortunate. I think if S4 force-staffed him immediately, right, when Sing Sing engaged, he might have been able to save Furion. I don't know if it was on cooldown or something, so I'll just give him the benefit of the doubt and say it was. But kind of unfortunate. Also, there was just a shitload of damage coming out from Sing Sing at this point. He's got 4,100, by the way, so... and he's 5-0-4. This is going to go... It looks like that stat last game was 7-0.
Yep.
Then he became 8-0. This could be a 9-0 Sing Sing Templar Assassin since I think it was February 1st is what the stat said.
Sing Sing Templar Assassins, it's all right. It's a pretty good Dota. At bottom, yep, Desolator going to be the build. And why wouldn't you? I mean, the armor reduction they have right now is insane. They've got Meld, they've got Deso, they've got the not the armlet, but the medallion up on Lycan. Lycan's taking a stack as we speak. Does he have something on the way?
Oh, no, S4. If he gets hexed here, he's dead.
There you go. Shackle, wow, don't think that was necessary. A little bit of overkill. Had a team coming behind him. There's the Tornado. EMP trying to slow things down. Now he's going to be able to Ghost Walk. Do they have any detection? Nope, sure don't. And yeah, that was way unnecessary. Not sure how he got away there. In mid, Alliance going to capitalize and go into work. They're going to see Loda try to bounce back Bone 7. They take another tier 1, so slowly whittling away. But again, they've just got so far to go. They're going to have to keep this up for another 30 minutes or so.
That was a disaster gank.
Yeah.
I don't know. That should have been easy, but that's also wards wasted there for Phyla, unfortunately. But here we go. This could be the momentum swing that Alliance is looking for here. If they can get a kill on Sing Sing, that'd be huge. He blinks away, though.
Gets a refraction up, has Meld, and just hanging, TPing away, and gets away.
God. So
close. Cloud9's just sharp, man. Like, I used that word before. It's just, they're so quick in their reactions, so quick in their decision-making, and more often than not, it's the right decision. And Alliance has picked it up. They're playing, like, we're at 18, 19 minutes in. Compared to how they looked 15 minutes ago, it's like two different teams. But still, it might be just too much of a lead if C9 can hang on.
Envy's just farming too much, though. Like, his CS is so high, and he's almost got Book 3. Actually, wait, is it flying out? Yeah, he does have Book 3. So, he's just so big at this point. I mean, Sing Sing's as much of a problem as he is, and that would have been great, but Envy is going to be so hard to... I mean, they do have good tools, actually, to defend in the high ground with Quaswex Invoker. I love that for defending with the EMP Tornado and the damage from the Wrath of Nature from Furion. He's going for a book as well.
I just feel like they could slow push him to death. Roche is going to be back up in a few minutes, so fairly long. Yep, it's going to be about 2 on the money. Fairly long respawn timer. And C9's in position. A mobility on him on Ross. Oh, they're going to manage to get S4. He's blown to pieces. And Ake couldn't even get off the hand of God in time. They're just going to collapse down mid. Here comes Envy with the Necro Creeps. They're going to chase them down. And even the net, not enough. Weave goes off. And they force the buyback out of S4. Now, if they can turn this around, it'll be big. Deafening Blast off the mark as they fall back to their wards to fight around. And Sing Sing in the meantime just teeing off. There's the mech to keep Bulldog alive along with. He's not going to jaunt to the orb, but the coil caught a couple behind. There's Sing Sing continuing to pile up the kills. Bone 7 whiffs on the waning
Oh my
rift.
God.
Big crit, but look, the Hex from Pile Die, and they're just going to let Loda retreat. Tier 3 is as yet untouched, but forcing the buyback out of S4. I would say they'll take all of that as a pretty big win. And, yeah, that was Sing Sing just continuing to pile up gold. He's got 2,400 gold, man. Like, what in the world are you going to do? He's 4K ahead of Loda at 20 minutes into this game. Now, we're not done. Pile Die engaged upon by Bulldog. Here comes the Tornado. And going to catch nothing but creeps. And he will fall back to the safety of his own team. AUI is going to come up, show his face, get a deny to be cheeky, and then fall back.
Yeah, you see the potential damage there from Loda. That was insane. With the crit and the Maelstrom procs and whatnot. And now he has a Basher to put on top of that. Like, this would have been such a good mid-game for them with these heroes, because I actually really like the draft of Alliance. I think it's well-balanced. They just had a horrible early game, and a lot of that is the one problem with their draft, as we mentioned, the puck had just too easy of a time.
Yep.
And when you have a lane like that where you can't threat the offlane hero, Dire Courier just got killed.
Didn't even see where.
I think it was the wolves because they're pinging it out right there.
Yep, and there they go. The vagrants that they are.
That's unfortunate.
Heading back to Eternal Envy. And they're going to try to sneak another Roshan after that. I didn't see if it had anything on it. But they should be able to get this. I don't know. They're right there. And, they spotted out EGM. He gets the Grave off. Now they're going to catch Sing Sing with the Tornado. Going to try to re-engage. Sing Sing's in a lot of trouble. They will be able to bring him down. Coil goes down on S4. They'll be able to kill him off with the wards. In the meantime, Roche dies, and Loda picks it up. Ready to re-engage. Pylai Die falling back behind his own wards. AUI's right there. He will get the Frostbite off. And Loda, no, there it is. Was going to say the wards actually weren't focused on him. EGM doesn't have Grave ready. He is silenced out now from the Waning Rift. And, big crit as Loda makes it a double kill. Cost him his Aegis, but they did manage to clear off 3, and 3 very important ones. However, at the same time that was happening, guess what's missing at top? Eternal Envy taking advantage, skipping the fights, and just barreling down lane to clear a tier 3.
This build from Loda seems really fun, man. I want to go try this in a pub now. It looks really, really fun.
Dude, anything Maelstrom's fun. Anything Maelstrom's fun.
Yeah. I mean, again, I keep going back to they have damage, man. They actually have a lot of damage, especially when Loda's getting these crits. If they can somehow contain this Lycan, because TA with their heroes that Alliance has is actually very easy to contain. You have a very long range slow from Loda that's very low cooldown. I mean, you have actually slows from 2 heroes as well, and then the control from the Quaspex Invoker. If they can manage Eternal Envy, however, and maybe burst him down before a fight or something like that, then I actually feel like they might have an opening to come back into this game. But until they do that, he's just going to keep ratting out and applying pressure up top.
Taking a look at the net worth, we can see top 2 are the Lycan and the TA. Speaking of trying to zone him out, Loda able to do so. Now, as you said, he's got the Basher up. At this point, do you feel like BKB's an option, or do you just go straight up for the Abyssal and try to get that up as quickly as possible, up your damage, and give yourself a chance to lock down the Lycan when he does start joining in the fights?
Well, it's a very... I mean, a lot of pros, I think, would just say no BKB, because why would I get BKB against Templar Assassin that's hitting this hard?
Yeah.
Why would I get BKB against Lycan, who can hit me really hard as well?
Right.
But if you can't maneuver in T-fights, then maybe BKB is necessary.
Yep.
And there's a lot to keep him down. Hold that thought as S4 is trying to... Yeah, there's a lot to hold him down between Aoi and the multiple disables from Puck and Shadow Shaman.
Oh, what a coil. Got all 3, and the Waning Rift got everyone. They're ready to re-engage. Cloud9 has this under control. TP right in their face will save at least one. EGM going to try to do the same thing, and we'll be able to make it. This went ridiculously well for Alliance. Only losing Ake and getting a tier 1 in exchange. They could not have asked for a better result of that. Great reaction after the coil caught 3 and the Waning Rift caught 4.
Yeah, good presence of mind to TP out right away from Bulldog, and same thing with EGM after the Grave. The Grave went into a little crevice, TP'd out, knew that some stuns were down, and yeah, well played.
Cloud9, though. God, I feel like that should have been such a big win for them. Instead, Alliance manages to make it back. There's Tornado EMP onto the Lycan, and Cold Snap as well. He's taking a fair amount of damage, and Eternal Envy seems a little angry about it. They're going to try to move back out. He pops the ultimate, and there's the Hex shown off by Boney. Had just finished it. Big kill as he ends up dropping. Bulldog needs to get out of there. That's not the time and not the place to farm, brother. Does have a ward down, which will help, but still, yeah, he'll head on out and find himself an invis. There you go. Did see. Yeah, looks like he's getting a 4-staff up now.
Despite the numbers that Sing Sing has for, his hero being 7, 1, and 5, and I'm not the one to do I think that this person's MVP because I think it's obviously a team effort. But
for sure.
That being said, I think Bone 7's playing out of his mind this game. Like, he is just, whether it was the laning phase and being able to out CS the carry, the one position hero from the other team, or just the constant plays he's been making all game to that sheep stick at 25 minutes.
Right.
I mean, he has just been everywhere and just really well played by Bone 7.
Waiting to see what Loda's going to pick up. By the way, I agree with you. The way he handled the off lane was a huge difference maker, and he was in the right place at the right time everywhere. I think the items are too big now, man, for Alliance. I really do. Sing Sing just finished an MKB. We already saw the Scythe of Ice showed off by Bone 7, and now an Assault Cuirass is done on the Lycan. And as big and beefy as the PA is. I mean, she's got to. I want to see what she's going to grab. She could just end up going pure damage. I guess, no, 3,800. She'll probably finish the Abyssal. One would think that would make the most sense at this stage, but I feel like there's so many ways for C9 to deal with her. A BKB is going to be essential. Yep, there we go.
Yeah.
I think that's essential. She can't rely on herself to get more than one blink off and hope for a crit in these fights without it. She has to have it.
It's one of those situations where you don't want to go for it because of the physical damage, but it's like you kind of have to. You can't get locked down, or else your hero's just useless. So I like the decision from Loda.
Extremely up. Hang on. Loda catches out Eternal Envy, forced to pop the ulti, got hit by the poison touch. Now they're going to come in behind it. And we can see Bulldog trying to get involved ahead of it. Sing Sing doing what damage he can. Loda's going to work on Sing Sing. Down go the wards. Do they have the damage? They do. There's a grave on the Loda. Very early grave. Deafening blast off of S4. There's a buyback from him to get back into this fight, so it cost him dearly. His item progression just shut down completely. Bone 7 not in the best of shape. And up at top, we can see Eternal Envy going to work on the racks. Will get the melee racks. Now going toe-to-toe with Loda. Almost had a chance to win, but Loda, with the help of his teammates, was there. Here comes S4. Thought he was going to force staff in the other direction, actually, and go after AUI.
Oh, my God.
Bone 7 jaunting away. Got hit by the poison touch after the kill. And there's the weave. Face shifting and buying as much time as he possibly can. Has blink and dies nonetheless, so it cost them a bit, but they forced the buyback out of S4. They killed off Loda, and they cleared out that melee rack. So, worth it? I think so.
I think Loda had a little bit too much bloodlust there. Like, he saw an opportunity to get a kill, and then he had that level 3 red Necro book creep still alive from Envy, just pummeling auto attacks onto him after the racks fell. And I think that actually, even with the racks down, it would have been a win if Loda lived there, even though he traded his life for Puck, because he had some really good item progressions, and you see the damage output if he gets those crits onto Sing Sing.
Nice gank at bottom. Bulldog hooking up with S4. And they don't have a glyph. Don't think they'll want it. Sing Sing's going to go right to work. Bulldog's dead. They'll catch him. Yep, side trap. S4's going to come back in and slow him down with the Ghost Walk. That's so smart. Yeah. That is so smart, and that just saved Bulldog for sure. No doubt about it.
This is my favorite player, man. I love watching S4. Just all the plays and ideas that he has at the spur of the moment.
They do get the deny on the tower. Can you believe this is a 29-minute game? Is it just me, or does it feel like we should be like at 50 right now?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's usually the game is also sped up when you have a Lycan in your game, if he's getting towers down. So, yeah, like I don't think Sing Sing's actually too much of a, like, he's gonna dish out damage, but he's manageable by the spells of Alliance. I think it's just this rat from Eternal Envy he's so frickin' farmed.
Yep.
Like, these items are so good for him, and he is the problem because it's hard to catch him with the shapeshift and everything.
And unable to find anything with the smoke. Alliance continuing to play very defensive. You can see they're very loath to go much further out than that right there. But this is where that starvation factor comes in. And C9 getting themselves in a good position. S4 might get spotted here. He's heading along the line. He's going to throw the tornado out. And caught a couple. Suspecting they knew where they were. Wards go down. And Alliance is actually in a fairly aggressive posture right now. Loda's going to move in, and here we go.
Oh!
Weave goes off, and they're trying to catch them out. There's going to be a deafening blast on the 2. Loda's doing great damage. Sing Sing could drop. No, he got the refraction off. Loda eating a ton of damage. There's the grave to keep him up and fighting, though. Tries to blink away. Can they catch him? Ulti from the Crystal Maiden catches no one. Eternal Envy going to be able to hook up with EGM and bring him down. But we do see Bulldog getting another kill. Buyback off of Loda, so that slows him down considerably. They need to make that count. S4 spotted and frostbitten. Eternal Envy duck on the bad side of Loda's crit stick. And AUI going to be the last to be tracked down as Alliance is able to clean up the remainder of that fight. Pylai Die doing what he can to kite out and do damage. Ghost Scepter doesn't last forever. And Loda just going to fall back. That's a full 5-man wipe. And Alliance continues to just extend this game and buy time. It did cost them dearly, though. Loda had to buy back.
I think they're more than fine with that. I don't. Did you see it? Did we see what Ake did? He had 3 centaurs just sitting there by there, and like, I don't. They didn't even have a setup. C9 just walked into 3 centaurs, triple stomp, 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 and then they had S4 come up right underneath them with the EMP tornado and loaded all the damage. I don't know how you get triple stomped by Centaurs with no setup.
Yep.
That was ridiculous. I mean, fantastic play by Ake, but what was C9 thinking? That was very, very silly to see.
Roche is back up. Again, it was a very short timer, and Alliance might be big winners because of it. They're gunning down pretty far. C9 has to get there fast. Sing Sing's going to spot a double damage rune. Roche at less than half health. If they're going to go, they got to go right now. There can be no delay. Yep, and there we go. There goes the coil. Caught everyone. They're going to try to follow this up. Immediately, Ake's bursted down. Roche ends up dropping. And the Angels is picked up by PA. Sing Sing's going to end up dying to Loda. Loda pops his BKB and the Grave just to keep him safe. Now going to work on Pylai Die. Ghost Scepter disjoints things a bit. Scythe of Ice is now done on Bulldog, but Loda's going to end up feeding that. There's a shackle on the EGM. S4 with the tornado from the low ground buys him a little bit of time. Loda coming back up. Envy and Pylai Die just going to fall back, as will AUI. Bulldog still looking for a kill. Scythe of Ice and Sunstrike actually disjointed. They're going to catch him anyway. And down he goes.
Yep, Cheese is available. Excuse me.
Yeah, I had to cough too. That was killing me. My God.
Yeah. Cheese available also, guys. That was the third Roche. Can't believe that. Loda doing so much damage now. And Alliance have brought this game back. And this is why, as you mentioned it, probably better so than I did, you can't discount the rat that is Admiral Bulldog, because he is actually doing quite well as well. Spreading,
Yep.
I mean, all of them are, but look at now he's the top net worth in the game. This is definitely an Admiral Bulldog hero, guys.
No doubt about it. And Bone 7, rather. Bone 9. Yeah.
Bone 9.
There you go. Manages to make it away. Cloud9 now trailing in kills following that last debacle with the pit. And Alliance is looking all right. I mean, they've cut this down. Loda has finally really begun to feel like he should. He's at 2,500 gold, so he could get an Abyssal next if he wants. Only about 1,300 gold till he has that. Bulldog, very importantly, as you had mentioned, Scythe of Ice is already up on him, and he's got another 1,800 gold tucked away, and was wanting to see if he had anything on the courier. Does not as of yet. S4 is playing an excellent Quas Wex Invoker. He's really been such a huge part of extending this game. And now look at EGM. He's going to be getting himself a Lincoln Sphere.
Look at what S4 can do as Quas Wex with the crappy ass farm that he has.
Yep.
You know, it's really amazing what you can do. I still think that the Quas Wex is better. That's also maybe a talk for another time. But yeah, and what you mentioned about EGM, yeah, he's almost got Lincolns. That's insane.
It's going to be a very tough to bring down PA. And Shadow Shaman not having a Blink Dagger or Force Staff right now is beginning to feel like a big misstep. They need to be relying on him to try and get the fight started on Loda, or at least counter-initiate as much as they can. His BKB has been used a few times now, so his magic immunity should be running low. He's got 7 seconds, so, I mean, it's not like the end of the world for him. But, yeah, Cloud9 is just, like you said, been making some mistakes, uncharacteristic. They were in complete dominance for the longest time in this game, but it feels like it's pretty much dead even. I mean, they've already cut the gold lead down by 4,000 overall. The experience is in favor of Alliance for the first time roughly the first time this entire match. And now they're ready to extend it as they're smoking up, crossing through mid. And they could be caught out on the Ancients here. Here comes EGM. They're going to move up, and it looks like they know it's coming. And there's the ulti. Bulldog was coming in, using the Treants to try to chase. And S4 was on the low ground, but Cloud9 able to dodge him that time.
At the very least, they popped the ulti out of Lycan, but not a big deal. It's a low cooldown. I think that could have been a scary fight, actually, from Alliance, because it was taking a little bit of time for S4 to get there. And that's kind of an awkward place to fight. Like, it's very narrow. You could get trapped by wards, you know, very, very easily. And, yeah, I actually think that was not the best place to fight for Alliance, but Ake has his creep army up yet again. This is a pretty damn good creep army, too, because these nets go through BKBs. So, actually, as far as BKBs, they don't even have any BKBs, so never mind, doesn't matter. But nonetheless, it's going to stop Sing Sing from moving around in fights, which is the key to keeping him down.
Speaking of Sing Sing, 3,200 gold, 33. A little bit more now. He's got tucked away. What do you think the right item choice is here?
For Sing Sing?
Yep.
Geez, I don't play TA that much, and obviously BKB is not going to do anything, right, because PA is going to. I mean, I guess it could stop you from
S4. Well, it takes S4 out of the equation.
but that's not enough. You need stuff like I don't know. You said they have an AC on the team. Yeah,
Yep.
Lycan has AC.
Yep.
I don't know, like probably maybe I guess a butterfly would be good to evade the attacks and possible crits from Loda. Manta could be good as well. I think Manta's. Oh, he goes BKB.
Yep, he picked it up just as I asked the question. Actually,
I guess he just doesn't. I mentioned one of the good things is, they need to stop the mobility of Sing Sing. But I just mentioned you also have 2 of those dark troll summoners.
Yep.
From Ake. So if he's on point, he can really, really shut down TA. TA has a DD right now in her bottle, though. This could be a really, really devastating fight for C9 if they execute this properly.
Roche will be responding in 3 minutes, and that's going to be another really short cooldown. The item progression for Alliance is now flipped completely around. They have just about everything they want and or need. They even have a Maelstrom up on Bulldog. Lincoln's on EGM could end up being a big item when all is said and done. And Loda's gone straight up lifesteal. He's got the Helm of the Dominator up now and 2,000 gold tucked away to go with his Cheese. So between Lincoln's, between BKB, between lifesteal, between Cheese, they're going to have to work hard to bring him down out of a fight. And this is beginning to look like the next fight or two is going to end up more or less changing this. Prior to 6.80, Dazzle had never built a Lincoln Sphere in Pro Dota. That's hilarious.
Is that the change when you could throw it on other people? It's gotta be.
Yep. Pretty sure so. They're going to be doubling back. They have to know Loda's bait. Like, there has to be no question about that. Pile Die does have his Blink Dagger up now, and that alone could end up being a huge factor. Ake, Mech Ghost Scepter, so a lot of Ghost Scepters in this match for obvious reasons. See one on S4 and on Ake. And Sing Sing going to throw out the trap, caught S4 with it. That's real chancy for them to pursue through there, knowing there's a Quaswex Invoker waiting on them. And, they're going to send the Wolves to take a look before they do much of anything. Not going to repeat their mistake. Not going to run single file into a bunch of Chin creeps.
I still think how crazy it is that how much effectiveness S4 has in these fights. And look he has the 3rd lowest net worth in the entire game.
Yep.
Less than the Shadow Shaman.
A mysterious force.
Here we go. I thought they were going to try to engage off of that. Went live 6.79. My mistake. But this is a stalemate right now. Neither team wants to take a chance on giving away the advantage. Bone 7, of course, with his Scythe of Ice could be a huge factor here. He's going to have to go through a Lincoln's to get it, though. And that's the tricky part. You have to go through a Lincoln's, and you have to do it before BKB can be deployed. That is intense. And Loda spotted him out. And he's going to jaunt down. There we go. Hex immediately in the S4. Got off the Waning Rift, but that's a big death. And Bulldog's there to capitalize afterwards. Bone 7 does not have buyback. So they're just going to rush down the Tier 2 mid. And
that's the ulti out of Lycan, too.
Yep.
They can probably time this fight to where as soon as they go high ground, that ulti's going to expire, and he's not going to have it for a good 20 seconds or something.
They do have a glyph. I was going to say, I don't think they're going to use it on the tower, but they are. 15 seconds for Lycan's ultimate. Down go the wards to try and buy time. And they're going to have to fight through them. Loda's going to lead with the chin. Lincoln's still active on him and now moving all the way through. Rax being banged down ever so slightly. Sing Sing looking for an opening. There's a Lincoln's gone. Now would be the time. And nope, now the Maelstrom armor's up. They're going to end up getting at least one set of racks here. And behind it, S4. There we go. Sing Sing moves in. EGM uses the Ghost Scepter, destroys all of that. Good tornado. Knocks them both down. BKB used on Loda. And the Hand of God allows them to re-engage as EE is sent scurrying back away. And the rest of Alliance able to limp away from the fight. All of this began with a bit of a misplay, a catch-out on Bone 7. Now Loda almost got a kill on the back of being sent home via Ake. And Bone 7 fresh up, just going YOLO style and trying to find a target. Rest of his team a little slow behind him, so no follow-up, but Alliance evens the score in terms of racks, and this is definitely a brand new game. We're talking 14,000 gold lead that has been completely negated by Alliance now, bringing it the closest to zero it's been in about half an hour.
That would have been massive style points. If Loda could have just got another crit there, that would have been really funny. Gets the kill onto Aoi, gets TP back to base by Chen, and goes on with his merry day. But this is what a wonderful comeback from Alliance. I'm really, really impressed. And despite them, it looked like they were just out of it mentally. Like,
Yep.
I don't think it looked like they were just kind of giving up, but the resilience of this team is one of the things that comes to mind when you think of them.
They're going to try to sneak a Roshan. Oh, this could be disaster. They're going to know it's coming. They need to get out of there right now. Alliance going to hit them with the tornado. Lincoln's pop. There's a deafening blast as well, and they are screwed if they get caught at all. There's the Hex on the Sing Sing. Now the coil, though, to reinitiate. Wards go down off of our Shadow Shaman. Sing Sing with his BKB up, doing what damage he can. He actually got bashed there on the low ground. We see AUI getting off an excellent ulti, but cleaned up and brought down by Loda. Buyback on EGM, S4, and Ake both still alive. And the rest of C9 forced to pull back. There's buybacks across the board as Lycan and TA rejoin the fight as well. Pylai Dai using his Ghost Scepter gets off the Hex and able to blink to safety for the moment. Tornado actually missed and still not able to bring him down. My goodness, these team fights are killing my throat.
Yeah.
Actually a little bit sick, so sorry about the coughing. Nonetheless, very big win for Alliance as they now move into the pit and look to take control of this. They do have EE up with this ultimate. Sing Sing's back up as well. And Roche down to about half health.
He doesn't have the Necro 3 up, though, for Eternal Envy. I feel like that's his main thing.
Deafening Blast caught, too. Can they get... Oh, there's Loda going to work, showing off the Abyssal. Sing Sing, though, took no damage because of Refraction. S4 ends up dropping. Bit of a misstep there. And Sing Sing able to bring down AK. Now Loda trying to do what damage he can. Realizes he has to get out. EGM can't do anything but run into the pit and hope to die a noble death as Sing Sing tallies a double kill. And that was a bit of a miscommunication, I think. They really were unable to capitalize.
Wow.
Oh, what a long-range shackles. S4's been silenced. Here comes Loda back in, though. Bone gets off the Hex. Can they follow it up?
He can't die.
Ice
Loda
Pulse
can't
there.
die. He has no buyback.
There it is. He's down. And now down goes S4. And a huge turn of events, and that's probably going to be your GG. The buybacks, none on S4, none on the PA. And they're both down for a long time with the push potential they have, the damage output they have. Cloud9 turning around that fight off of the buybacks from Eternal Envy and from Sing Sing may have just taken this game and taken this series.
Oh, no, man. Loda could not die right there. I checked his gold. He had no buyback.
Yep.
Maybe he thought that if they gave him the Roche, they gave him the game, but they gave him the game right now. This is going to be Mega Creeps. And, I thought this was Alliance. I thought they were going to come back from this and really seal the deal, but
Yep.
the Roshan, the persistence of fighting there in Roshan when they didn't have all members ready with the buybacks coming out from C9, very well played by them and heads up. And now they're fighting against Mega Creeps. Oh,
Yep.
my God. Well, what a game.
What an insane game indeed. And... yeah, I got to admit, I was kind of thinking the same thing. It looked like Alliance was on track. It looked like they were having a lot of trouble dealing with them. But honestly, it felt like Alliance overextended. They kind of got their eyes got too big for their stomach. Whenever that Deafening Blast came out, they committed way too much. They pursued Envy and company way too far out when they could have just stalemated and waited. And instead, it's a gigantic win for Cloud9, who executes when it matters the most. Their net worth. Taking a look at Sing Sing once again. This could be 9-0, my friend. I believe you called it. 12-5-10 for him, and it's been on his back for the most part. Him and Bone 7 for sure. Not to say anything bad about Envy or anyone else, but mostly the play from Bone 7, even though Bone's little flub there in mid almost cost them. It has largely been on their back that C9 finds himself in this position. Now comes the desperation push. All they can do is shove the lanes out, hope to buy some time, and hope they get a huge win right now. And Loda has every item he needs now except maybe a Satanic. But they're going to have to go for it. We're all knotted up 29-29. Last push of the game. Alliance wins. Who knows? Maybe they win. They lose. They lose. C9 on the defensive. Pulled all the way back. They're going to go right for the tier 4s. Lincoln's going to help Loda out. Let's wait for the initiation. S4's and gives. Oh, what a great Waning Rift and a coil. Got 3. Loda. BKB's through it, but we see Eternal Envy going to work on him. They're all grouped up. They do manage to bring down Bone 7, but the damage is coming out too quickly. We see Nature's Prophet down. Loda's still up. Buyback from Bulldog. Desperation time. Sing Sing still there. Another great coil with the refreshers from Bone 7. They're going to run them out. Loda re-engages for the last time as he falls. GG for C9. Could not ask. Oh, Bulldog is actually sitting back at the base for the moment. But yeah, looks like they did call the GG. There we go. Bulldog was still defending, so who knows? Thought he was going to say fake. It doesn't matter. What an intense game. And Alliance came within a gnat's whisker. At least that's how it felt, of turning everything around. Instead, C9 stabilizes, takes a deep breath, and closes the door on the back of a great performance once again from Sing Sing on the Templar Assassin, 14-5. He finishes up 650 GPM overall for him. And yeah, Loda got going, but it came a little late. It just came a little late. 9, 5, and 12 for him. You look at his inventory, and it just felt like one more big item might have been in. One more. He just couldn't get it.
They were so close.
They were.
This is one of the better games I've seen in a long time, I have to say, too. It was a lot of fun to watch. Just the throws and the counter throws and the coming back and lots of... I think any game where you have crit potential from PA in particular is always fun to watch because you can turn the tide to the big crit or two. And I think they just got a little sloppy at that Roche fight. They were very persistent about trying to get it. C9 with the really smart buybacks, knowing that they could not give up that second... Or no, I think it was the fourth Roshan of the game to Alliance, or it could have been game 4 Alliance. And so, yeah, really well played. I hate giving out MVPs for the sole reason that, I think it's a team effort. But if I did have to, I think Bone7 just played fantastically. Yep. Really started the pace of the game for Cloud9. So, well played to him, and it was a very, very fun game to watch.
Unbelievably competitive series. And Alliance closes the day out with 2 losses. So they're in the same hole Empire found themselves in this morning, except they got a win there and moved up in the winners column at least a little bit. Took 46 minutes, 19 seconds for this game to end. 34-30. The final kill score as Cloud9 shuts out Alliance in our Alliance doubleheader. Actually, our first doubleheader. We got another one coming up tomorrow, and we'll recap that coming up in just a minute. But for now, once again, congratulations to C9. And we'll take a look at our standings here in just a moment. Pretty sure that moves them. If not, switched it too early. It's rubbing my nose, man. Rubbing my nose. Getting ready. I told you I was sick. Rubbing my nose, getting ready for the camera shop. That's okay. But yeah, the day ends. Alliance is 0-2. Empire improves. And Cloud9 at least shares first place. I'd have to look at the points to know for sure, and I'm sure we'll take a look at that in a moment. But another great day of Dota, and we got another one coming up tomorrow. Another doubleheader that starts at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, noon Eastern Standard Time, and of course 9 o'clock/2100 for our Central European brothers and sisters. Trout, my friend, any final thoughts on your way out the door?
It was a really fun game to watch, man. I think the funniest thing too is to look at, again, S4 had like the same items for about 30 minutes. Right. I'm not even kidding. He had Phase, the Ghost Scepter, and then the Force Staff for so long. Imagine if he got more items up. I know you're talking about Loda, right, but imagine if he got more items up. Because S4, despite the score being 7-11 and him having the kind of crappy items that he has, he played out of his mind.
Yeah.
And he just shows you the effectiveness of a very good player on a Quaswex Invoker. But nonetheless, fantastically played by Cloud9. Congratulations to them. And yeah, it was one of the more fun games I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, and I think that just kind of proves the point that you don't need a whole lot on a Quaswex Invoker. There is more room for success and failure in terms of what you can contribute as opposed to, say, an Exort build. But that's a discussion for another day. And before you go, of course, my friend, why don't you let the fine folks know where they can find more about you? Obviously, Trout Dota on Twitter, and where else?
And twitch.tv/Trout.
And just had a stat popped up in game. Sing Sing has a combined 42-9 KD and 3 wins on Templar Assassin here in the D2L Western Challenge. I think he's doing all right. I think maybe it's like PPD's tree. It might be time to start using the ban button a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. Make sure you check Trout out, his personal stream, as well as on Twitter. You can also find me. I'm at AC at AYESEE. And on Twitch, it's twitch.tv/ACTV. Same name, ACTV, AYESEETV. You can find me on Facebook, YouTube, and a variety of other services. Make sure you check out everything we have for you at the D2L as well. You can find us Facebook, D2LGG, and Twitter, D2LGG. Once again, Alliance falls 0-2 today. Empire gets the best of them, as does C9 in 2 straight shutouts. We'll try to get things back on track and even things out with another doubleheader coming up tomorrow, so hopefully they can shake all of this off. We'll see you then at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. On behalf of myself, Trout, the whole D2L squad, once again, thanks so much for being here, and no matter if it's your morning, evening, or afternoon, make sure you go out and enjoy some Dota.